Good morning. I'm Bobby, and I wanted to talk to you today about a Bible study tonight. My husband called me earlier and asked if I would make him a sweet treat for some of his friends. He's invited to, it's not really a Bible study, it's just a Bible reading. I'm going to make the simplest, is that a word? Most simplest thing I know, and that is Shoop Bukta, is what it's got. It is I'm using, I don't know if I can show you the picture. I'm using 2 cups of flour. That would be in America, that would be like all-purpose flour. I'm using 2 cups of powdered sugar, 4 eggs. These are eggs from my mother-in-law. We prefer home eggs rather than store-bought. Here we go. Here's another ingredient. It is baking powder. It's a woman. And then you can use any kind of fruit in its juice. And this is a jar of apples that we have from last year season. If I can open this, there we go. Okay. That smells good. That smells really good. We put some cinnamon in our sugar water when we're preserving the apples. So what I do is I take my jar, take a long knife, and stick it down into the jar, and that's how I cut up my apples. The previous cakes that I've tried to make using this, I would take the apples out and cut them up, and I just don't have time or energy for all of that. Yeah, like I said yesterday, I have good days and bad days. Today is one of those days where the couch has been calling my name all morning long, and I'm just tired today. And the weather has a lot to do with it. It's a dreary day. It looks like it wants to rain, but it's not raining yet, and I don't know. We'll see if it rains. It might rain, it might not rain. But I also feel extra swollen today, so there's something different going on with the air pressure. Okay, and that's about what it looks like when it's all cut up. I missed a few pieces, but you know what? It doesn't really matter. And this is one of the recipes. My husband laughs at me because he says, "You're following a recipe?" That's like shocker value for me because I don't follow recipes. For my family, what I do, I use a cup of flour. I use a cup and a half of oatmeal because that makes it thicker, more hearty. So now I'm just getting my pan prepared, any kind of oil, just a little, and rub it all in. I'm using a paintbrush because I lost my brush. Yeah, it's amazing how kitchen utensils disappear when I have a 7-year-old son. He is very creative and he will easily come and get my things from the kitchen, and I don't mind. I really don't mind, but I like to know about it. I have some oil spread all throughout the pan, even up on the sides, and then I'm going to put some flour in it, and then I'm going to run to the sink and shake it out. That way when I bake it, it won't stick to the pan. We'll take it out, let it cool, and put it in the traveling container, and that'll be it. So now we're at the point where I'm just stirring the dry ingredients together, the flour, sugar, and baking powder. I would like to have one of those kitchen mixers, not KitchenAid specifically, but one of those stands and the bowl turns. But I don't have one, so for now this works, and I'm not complaining. I just work with what I have. Every so often I have that mood where I want to be I like the idea when my kids come home from school and they smell something baking in the oven, I'm just pulling out a fresh pan of something, and they come and they have that look on their face. That look is what I want. That look is what I appreciate. It's not the food. It's not the cake. It's nothing like that. It's the feeling that they have. And I think, if you ask a child, my son is 7, my daughter's 12, and my oldest daughter's 15. If you ask my 7-year-old, what is love? Or how do you know you are loved? What makes you think your parents love you? One of the answers I'm sure is going to be when they come home and they smell love in the oven. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it makes sense. To me, it makes sense because my daughter told me a few days ago that she said, "I really like it when you mommy me." When I, Mommy, what does that mean? What are you talking about? And she said, you know, they were outside. It had been snowing. They were outside playing. They came in frozen. So I turned on my heating pad and I wrapped them up in my heating pad and my blanket. And that kept them warm while I made them hot tea. And then they sat at the kitchen table and they had hot tea and I had made something sweet. And they were just so content. And yeah, I did that for them because I love them and I want them to feel appreciated and taken care of. That at that point, that was really important for me, that they feel that I'm taking care of them. And that warmed my heart. That was like just warming for me. So now we're ready to add in the wet ingredients. I'm going to keep stirring, but when I add in the apples, I'm going to use a wooden spoon. And I is when you're putting eggs into any kind of a base that you've already got flour and everything ready, it's best to take your egg and crack it in a cup. I don't always do that. I should. I teach my daughters to do that because that way it's so much easier to pick out an eggshell if you have an accident. And, and now is also a good time to go ahead and turn on the stove. Not stove, oven. And dumping in the juice and all. I used to have a problem because everything I knew how to make needed some kind of fruit, but nothing needed the juice. So I would just add water to it, put it on the bar, and the kids would drink it. That's when I found this recipe that's really easy, didn't need a blender at the time. When I started making this recipe, I don't think I even had not a blender, a mixer. There you go, mixer. I didn't even have a mixer. So I wanted something that was quick, easy, and stir with a wooden spoon, and of course doesn't take up too many utensils to make the cleanup, dishwashing easier. And yeah, this is pretty much easiest recipe I can think of. So set your oven on, mine is at 200 Celsius. So it's probably what, 350 Fahrenheit maybe? So that's it. And then stir it. And that's what it looks like. And then we just pour it in the baking pan and bake it for about, I don't know. Bake it till it smells done is what we do. And this, it's maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that. Okay, so that's all for now, and God bless. Yeah, one more thing. I forgot to mention that the best part about making a dessert like this when my kids are not home is that I get to have the empty bowl. I get to have the wooden spoon or the mixer spoon, because when the kids are home, I don't get to taste it at all, because as soon as the dough goes into the pan, the everything disappears, and then I just hear from the kids in the living room. So best part about it is it's all mine. It's good too. And there's the finished product. It got done and I turned it out onto a cutting board and I put not flour, powdered sugar on it. Okay, so have a great day.